Good morning, everybody. Chuck here with No Time to Be Sad. And this month, 7 years ago, I moved to Thailand. Hey y'all, Chuck here with No Time to Be Sad. And this is my beautiful wife of 15 years, Paige. We downsized, saved, and liquidated to quit our lifestyle in America of living for things to a life of wherever it might take us. We moved to Thailand November of 2016. We currently live Thai style on the Mekong River in a town called ThatPhanom in the province of NakhonPhanom. This is my wonderful Thai family. Every day for us is an adventure, and we spend most of our time exploring and living for the moment. We know nothing lasts forever, and we try to enjoy every new day we have. I don't have time for things that really don't matter in my life, so there you have it. No time to be sad. This video, I want to talk to you guys today about my decision on moving here. What do I think so far about Thailand? My lifestyle, stuff like that. And what are my future plans? Will I continue to share everyday life videos on YouTube platform? What are we gonna do in the years to come here in Thailand? Well, 7 years ago, I decided, actually a long time before I moved to Thailand, I knew that I wanted something a little better in my life. Let me start by saying I love my country. I fought for my country. My kids were in the military. My daughter did 2 tours in Afghanistan. America means a lot to me, but America is America. The world is a gigantic place, and I feel like my existence on the planet didn't need to be limited to one culture, one ideology. I found myself doing the same damn thing over and over again, and I really wasn't happy in my life. And I thought, outside of the big picture, what is this really for? Is this really how I want to live my only existence in life? Just being like a servant to people that really could care less about me personally. It wasn't really benefiting my life to continue doing the same things over and over again. So, I had a lot of obligations that I had to get through before I could even try to think about making decisions to benefit my own personal life. I had 3 kids, I had a career, I had to make money. We had to do all the stuff that the American dream requires of us in the United States. That's not just the United States. That's really a Western mentality. I've met a lot of people from other parts of the world that are tired of the same everyday hassles that they have to go through in their existence, and they just want to figure out a way to live a better life, a better quality of life for themselves. So I thought a long time ago about retiring somewhere. My first thought, actually before I met my wife, was to move to Mexico. There's a lot of places. I fell in love with a little place down on the West Coast on a peninsula called Ensenada, Mexico. I really fell in love with that area, and that was a thought for me to retire a long time ago. Of course, Mexico has been changing quite a bit. I don't know today if that would be appealing to me or not, but like I said, the world is a big place. It still is. I live in Thailand. I love it here in Thailand, but maybe I could find myself living somewhere else in another country. Who knows? But I like to have an open mind about life instead of just one tunnel vision of what's expected of me in my life. And then when it comes to the end, all those achievements, all those things, all those people that got to where you were, other than family, they're not going to be there for you at the end. It's only you. So you have to come to the conclusions in your life about what you want to do to make yourself happy. So the first thing that we did you guys know, as we traveled around the United States, I learned so much about my own country. It was amazing. And, I put away the news, and I stopped listening. When you go to work every day, you got to hear the latest discussion about world events or whatever, and I stepped away from that, and it was just like a breath of fresh air. I was still a little wound up during that time, but that's just who I was during that first period of my retirement. But I learned so much traveling around the United States, seeing things that I never thought I would. Well, things that I couldn't even imagine seeing, I'll just say. I mean, we had some ideas of where we would go, but along the way, we just experienced whatever we could do randomly. Like, we didn't try to plan everything completely out. And then when we got tired of a certain area, we just hooked up the trailer and we left. That was a good time, but our ultimate goal after deciding, to move to Thailand was, I've made plenty of videos on what it took for me to get here. I'm not going to bore you with all of that stuff. We've been making videos ever since I retired. And I'll talk about what I'm going to do about the channel here in just a little bit. But, coming to Thailand was an amazing, life-changing experience for me. I got to learn a new culture. I was in a little bit of a shock, when I first got here, and I couldn't understand what anybody was doing. I was kind of planted in an area where nobody really knew much about foreigners, especially the language. And the only person I could talk to was my wife. So that prompted me to go learn. I found an awesome teacher here in ThatPhanom. And we also had discussions about Thai culture, which was very important for me to try to relate to a lot of things that were going on around me, a lot of things that I felt like I needed to understand. But nowadays there's a lot of things, and I'm a curious person, of course, because that's what brought me to retire early, to want to travel, and because of my curiosity. But I don't think too much about stuff. It doesn't really matter anymore. A lot of times I catch myself asking why, but it doesn't matter. It's an awesome feeling just to live day to day. Now, it doesn't require a lot of money to live in Thailand. I would say probably, first off, you get rid of. We have a massive amount of bills in America. So once you get rid of all your bills, then you really figure out what do you need in your life. You need shelter, you need food, and you need some kind of entertainment, whatever that might be. But shelter here is very affordable, very inexpensive. The average price is a couple $100 a month. You spend about $30 to $60 a month in electricity. Your utilities are under your extras are about less than $100. So you can live here. I always say a good number in Thailand to live here comfortably is about $1,500 a month. You can have compared to your life back home. Now, if you want to come here and live like a pimp daddy, then it's going to take all your money probably. That's not cheap. But if you want to just have a better quality of life than what you had, I'm talking about it. I'm generalizing here, but I have a lot of people that watch the channel that live here 50-50. They live here sometime and they go back home sometime, but that's what they want to do. That wasn't what I wanted to do. I actually considered rental property, stuff like that, but I didn't want any ties. Like, I didn't want something, I'm having a good, enjoyable life, and then something pulls me back into into that mess again. So I wanted to release myself from all of that and just try something new. I didn't know if it was going to work or not 100%, but I figured my worst case scenario is I'd have to go back and get another job. I probably wouldn't go back into the grind like I used to. I would probably just simplify my life a lot more now if I ever had to go back to the United States. I wouldn't go back to what I was doing. It's not necessary in my life now. And the things I'm talking about are also the same things that my wife also, we both pretty much think the same. So she thinks a lot less than me, though, obviously. Now, for us, it's not cheap for us to live in Thailand. We probably spend over 1 million baht for sure a year traveling and just doing what we want. Now, when I say 1 million baht, that's like $27,000, I guess. So my bills in America were definitely a lot more than that a year. But now I'm able to use that money to just enjoy, to use it for myself instead of giving it to everybody else. You know, you have like a $400 cell phone bill. Most people's not that much, but I had my ex and her entire family on my cell phone bill too. So I can do that here and it doesn't cost me hardly anything. But yeah, so that money I spend basically on me and Paige traveling and doing what we want to. Now I make YouTube videos. The YouTube videos do earn money for Paige and I. And we do use that also to offset a lot of our traveling. So I was lucky, I'll say lucky to have stumbled in. Like I had no idea that it would be of any profit to do YouTube videos traveling the world. Like I didn't know that was even possible. Is it a lot of money? No, it's not. You can make a crap load of money on YouTube. Me, no, I just don't have the audience. I've got about 15,000 regular viewers that follow us on our day-to-day life videos, and that's what keeps us motivated, is you guys sharing that with you. A lot of wonderful comments that you guys share with me, and all I can do is hope that maybe new people can come and maybe see something a little positive, and hopefully it'll change their life or their perspective about things. That's my goal, other than entertaining you guys. You guys are always fun to entertain, but it's hard to get this platform out there for other people to see. YouTube has changed quite a bit in the last couple years as far as algorithms and stuff like that, and it's difficult. But not too many people want to come live in Thailand permanently. So that's what our genre is pretty much about. And we're limited to an audience. But if you guys share the content, that's always appreciated. Maybe we can get some other people to snap out of their coma and just try to help people become more happy and love themselves, I should say. So yeah, sharing the videos really help. I will continue to keep making the videos until I get bored with it. I need something to do in Thailand. Everybody, when they come here, is going to have to find some kind of purpose, I think, still. Us as Westerners, we're never going to be Thai. We're never going to get a blood transfusion and become like them. When I say like them, I don't mean like everybody, but a lot of them have a really kind of relaxed attitude in life. And this kind of annoyed me a little bit at first, but I'm grateful for it. If you weigh the things out, you find yourself being more thankful that you're here around this culture than the other. But we all need, when I say purpose, like something to do. A lot of people, they do like trash hero stuff, or They help with the local economy, whether it's helping with a local school, doing some kind of local activities, whether it's bicycling, some kind of form of exercise or sports. As far as jobs go, not too many foreigners come here to work. A lot of them open up businesses for their spouse and help that get going. But believe it or not, I think most people that come here to live, they just come and they just disappear. I've met so many people that just live off of the grid. A lot of British people, they come here and they want to have a piece of land and just peace and quiet. They want to have a fishing, well, they want to have a pond. They want to have a garden. They want to have just kind of like a farming life. But they just come here and they just disappear, and they don't want to really talk to anybody. They just want to enjoy their life. There's a tremendous amount of people that do that. Now, a lot of them are not sharing their life on the internet or in the comment section because they're just happy with themselves and they don't need to participate. If it wasn't for the YouTube channel, I wouldn't be a farmer, but I would be so far away from knowing because I really want to distance myself from what's going on in the world. Right now, the world is very, well, you only see the bad things, I'll say, when you watch TV. They're not going to show you, there's no interest in showing a lot of good stuff on the TV or on the internet. Like, people just aren't really intrigued by that. A lot of that could be because they're not happy with themselves and they like to see things that are worse. But we really do have some serious problems going on in the world. But if you step back and you look at it, like, a lot of that stuff's been happening our entire life. A lot of that stuff, even when I was a child or my mom was a kid, you had, after World War II, you still had a lot of problems. Can you guys remember, like, crawling under your desk in fear of a bomb from the Soviet Union? We've been in fear from a lot of things, I think, in modern civilization. I think it's just a means of keeping us in check, letting us know how dependent we are for survival on our government. And I just find now it's not true. Like, I have no government income. Like, I don't have, the government's not supplying me with Social Security, disability. I'm not on any kind of social welfare, stuff like that. So I figured out a way to enjoy my life without it. I'm still an American citizen. I still put in into the system since I was 16 years old in the United States. I contributed to a Social Security system, so I expect I'll probably get that when I turn 62. I'll just collect it early and just leave it in an account in America. The good thing about that is my wife is also an American citizen, and she gets to, in the Social Security system, like if Paige was to kick me out of here tomorrow, and she never remarries in America, she actually gets to collect half of my Social Security when she reaches retirement age, and it doesn't affect mine. So let's just say, like, if I got an early retirement for $2,000, she would get $1,000. So that's a big benefit for her, and I'm happy that I have that coming eventually for her in her life. Now, when I pass away, of course, it'll be more money for her. So that's a good thing for being an American citizen and paying into the system. I know somebody's going, "Oh, you better not count on that, Chuck." But I think if just about the entire population of America is somewhat dependent on Social Security because some family member of theirs is on Social Security, and you guys are going to have to take care of them if they ever decided to run out of that. But hey, anything's possible, but it's going to be a rough day if that ever happens, if you really step back and look at the big picture, because people aren't just going to go, well, it was a good run, we'll figure something else out, thanks. They're just not going to. I don't believe it's going to work that way. But not to talk too much about politics, but we are definitely witnessing a change. And I'm only going to talk about America because I don't want to put my 2 cents in a country that doesn't affect me. I know a lot of stuff is going around in the Western world, and of course I have an opinion on it, but it doesn't affect me, and I don't feel like I need to share my opinion on the internet because of, for me, like whatever politics and stuff that's going on in the United States, it does directly affect me one way or the other, especially if I live there. So I feel like I have a right to talk about the politics in my own country. But nothing lasts forever. Even Rome didn't last forever. And we're witnessing a change in the culture, a change that has been brewing for a very long time. Again, if you step back and you look at the design of it, from the way that we taught our kids, from what society dictates, how we treat each other and act, and the way that we are so divided by design, it's inevitable that this was going to happen. But nothing lasts forever. Is America going to disappear? I can't see that happening. I don't know why it would, but it will turn into something different. So I think it's always changed. It's always becoming something different. What it'll become, I'm sure it'll be something that my generation won't like, but they'll figure it out. But for me, I don't need to figure it out. Like if I'm not happy somewhere, I just need to make a change. If Thailand becomes inconvenient and difficult, why would I stay here? So I found an exit plan that worked for me in my life and my lifestyle, and came up with a plan to get away from America. And is it a bulletproof plan? Well, what actually is? But I wasn't going to live my life back in America with a bunch of what ifs. What if this happened? What if that happened? And just keep continuing doing the same damn thing, and then look back later on in life and go, nothing happened. Maybe I wish I would have done something different, but now it's too late. So I'd rather just make the path, go through it. If I fail, I fail, and I'll figure something else out later. That's just the way I am. But that's a lot of the stuff that I show in our everyday life videos. And I'm pretty sarcastic about stuff because I think things are funny, and that's just how I react to things. I'm not the like, oh my God, this is, and I'm not that guy. I'm really not. I wasn't raised that way. I was, I'm just going to tell you a little personal stuff about me. I know Mom's watching this video. I love you, Mom. My Mom was 16 years old when she had me, and my dad was 18. I love you too, Dad. I think you're watching too. But they got divorced when I was 6, and they were young. My father had a career going he was working up the ranks to be a police, or as a police officer, I'll say. He was a police officer most of his life. And my mom was still young, and I honestly, I think having a child wasn't their how can I say this? Let's see. I'm trying to say the right word. I'll just say I spent a lot of time on my own when I was a kid, but I learned a lot about myself. I learned how to take care of myself. I have no regrets in my life. Like, I would never in my life blame my parents for the outcome of whatever my situation was. Everybody has problems in their life. Not everybody has a perfect childhood, a perfect family. Nothing is perfect. And we just need to try to see, like, step outside somehow and look at the big picture and just try to move forward. I moved around quite a bit when I was young, from, not just from mom to dad to mom, this and that, but my dad didn't move around too much. My dad's always lived in Hialeah, Florida. But, actually, he's moved around a little bit, but from like Miami to Hialeah, which is really close. My mom's moved around quite a bit. The longest I've ever lived anywhere was in Texas. And, I'm really glad I got to live in Texas. Texas is a pretty good state. Florida also, but Florida changed a lot from the time I was a kid. When I was young, and then I moved back as a teenager, and it changed quite a bit in a short period of time in Florida. But I still enjoy South Florida. It's where most of my family is, but I can take care of myself. I think I'd just say that. Like I'm pretty self-sufficient. And I don't need anybody really to tell me what to do, and I don't really need help from anybody, I guess. That's not true. Everybody needs a helping hand every now and then, for sure, but that's just how I think. Like, if I can't do it myself, then it just can't be done. Like, I've got to do it. Right now I'm having a little bit of still some back issues, not much, but I got to consider, I had to move a bed from mom's house to here the other day. And we had to hire somebody to come pick it up. Like, I would never do that. Like, I would just sling the mattress above my head and carry it up the stairs and throw it on top of my vehicle and tie it up and go. So I'm having to learn how to depend on other people now. But, that's just a little bit of a backstory of my life. I quit school in the 10th grade, and I wasn't very good in school. I had I guess you could call it attention deficit disorder, but I had a very difficult time paying attention in school. And there really was the teachers just teach on a platform, and they really didn't know to go outside of that to help somebody that had any kind of learning disabilities. But I came home I remember clearly coming home from school and telling my mom, I'm just going to quit school. She's like, well, if that's what you feel like you want to do. So I went and worked at a plant nursery for $4 an hour, and I was making some money, but it was hard work. I think I was like 17, maybe, yeah. And I ended up getting laid off because they hired a bunch of immigrants under the table, and they didn't need me because they could hire like 4 people for, I guess, the $4 an hour they were paying me. So, shortly after that, I didn't quite know what to do with myself. So, well, I'm really opening up to you guys here now. So my good friend I grew up with, we're riding around one day, just probably up to no good. I don't remember exactly how it became, but he's like, hey, there's a school over here, a technical school, and we can go to this school and get a loan, and then they'll provide housing, and we can move in to an apartment, a full furnished apartment, and go to school to learn how to be a mechanic. And I thought to myself, a mechanic? At that moment in my life, I had the only other option is my friend's father was a construction worker. He was a contractor, and we were actually going to go work with him. So I was real close to becoming a carpenter before this moment. So we just, we're kids driving around in a car, and we pull into this school. I think I was 18 at the time. And we talked to the counselor there at this trade school to become a mechanic, which we had no idea what the hell we were doing there. And yeah, we filled out some applications, and my friend got a grant. Well, he got a full loan. He didn't get maybe he got a little bit of a grant. But we were like poor. Like, we didn't have any money. But my father made quite a bit of money. I don't remember at the time his rank, but he was pretty high rank and he made good money. But my father never financially supported me as a child. Not very much, I'll just say. Like, I don't remember being benefited from like $100 a month or something, whatever he was sending. I didn't get anything. I had to call my dad. Actually, I got a little bit of a loan. And the school was cheap at the time. This was like back in the early, maybe mid 80s, something like that. I don't remember. Somewhere in the mid 80s. And the school, I remember, it was a 2-year degree, and it was somewhere under $10,000. So I had to call my dad. Actually, I don't remember calling my dad. Maybe my mom did, or my stepdad did. And he had to pay like $800. It wasn't much, but I hated to ask him for that. And anyway, he sent the money. We ended up enrolling into the school. Me and my friend went to school full time, and we had nobody help. I remember my portion of the rent. It was all bills paid, fully furnished apartment, and it was $240 a month. That was my half. Me and my friend slept in one room. We had 2 twin beds in one room, and it was just a small apartment. Dining room, living room, small kitchen, maybe not even a dining room. I don't think so. Anyway, we worked at so we went to school all day and we worked at Pizza Hut. Now, you can go to school at night or you can go to school the day. You had a choice. So we went during the day and we delivered pizza at night. At that time, I had a Trans Am that got crap gas mileage, and I don't know that I made much money, but I pretty much lived on the tips. Of course, I got your pizza to you pretty fast. But I went to trade school and I became a mechanic. Actually, my first job was Pep Boys. I don't know if anybody remembers a place called Pep Boys. I became like a shop manager by the time I was 19 years old. I was a goofy, skinny guy in a jumpsuit and a tie trying to tune up your car. And then I was pretty good at it. It was just weird because I was young and trying to pretend like I was a manager, you know. But they asked me if I wanted to go to San Diego to go work out there at a bigger shop that came available, that they would pay for me. And I was married at the time, my first wife. Got married really young the first time. So we packed up our stuff and they gave us a U-Haul, and we put our little car on the back of the U-Haul that we had just bought, like it was like a Pontiac Le Mans, but it was like a little new turd style car, and it was all we could afford. And we go to San Diego, and then like I didn't get a raise. Like I thought I was going to make more money, but I got the same crap pay, and now I'm paying like crazy rent price. So of course my wife at the time had to get a job I think she was cleaning houses and waitressing, and I was working at this place not making crap money and working a lot harder with a lot more responsibilities than I had before. So I ended up quitting there. I had to, and I went across the street to a place called Goodyear, and I didn't know anything other than what I learned in school about fixing cars, but I could tune up a car really good, but they needed a general mechanic, so I lied. I went in there and said, I can fix anything. I'm like 20 years old, I think, at the time. No, actually, I was 21. Yeah, I was 21 at that time. I think I'd worked for the company for like 4 years. And I lied. Like I said, I can do everything. So he gave me the job, and I had very little tools. And when I brought my very little tools in, they were looking at me like, what the hell? So they gave me a shot. The guys that worked there, I was so thankful that they helped me. My first job was a brake job, and I didn't even know how to turn the rotors. I had forgotten all that stuff. I had graduated like 4 years ago, and I'd forgot how to do all that because we didn't do brakes and stuff. We only did tune-ups. So they helped me, and my car got repossessed, and we had bought a crap little, what did we have? I don't remember. It was like a Vega or something. It was a shit car. And I didn't know what the hell. I wasn't even really thinking. I was a young kid, you know, but they helped me quite a bit. And me and my wife at the time knew we got to get out of here. We have got to get back to Texas somehow. So this is all like in a 10-month period of time. That's how long I lived in San Diego. And we scraped up some money. I ended up selling my little crap Vega and bought a 69 Barracuda with a 318 in it, and got a Class C hitch welded to that. Put everything in a 6x9 U-Haul trailer, and we drove straight through. I think it was 26 or 28 hours straight, and I couldn't get past Austin, and I was just like zoning out. And we spent the night in Austin and then got to Houston the next day. These are a couple of long stories. I don't want to bore you with everything. But if you're interested, keep coming. Stick around. So when I got back, I got a job at another Goodyear, and I did pretty good. Like, I really became really good at fixing cars. And I worked for a place called Pet Boys, and worked there for quite a while. And I got all of my like certification. These places, like, they want you to be ASC certified. I know so many ASC master techs that don't know anything. They're just really good at taking tests. So they were like, if you get all these tests, well, depending on how many certificates you have, will depend on your pay rate. So I was like, okay, well, that's easy. I just went and get all my ASCs. So I didn't get them all at the first go around because they're not super, super easy to take. But after a short period of time, I think you could take them like twice a year. The testing was like twice a year or something, I think, or something like that. Anyway, I ended up making the maximum amount of money that I could make. And then, life was good. I ended up, at that time, we had a house burned down. Me and my second wife. We had just gotten married. We had a child. And our house burnt down. We lost everything. So we're living with my mother-in-law, my Mexican family, which my ex-mother-in-law was a wonderful human. She still is a wonderful human being. But we lived with the entire family in this house, and it was insanity. This was like 1989, I think, somewhere around that time, 1990. So I came home one day and said, I'm joining the military. I was working at a Firestone at that point. I got fired from the it wasn't my fault, but I got into a really bad confrontation with some guy in a parking lot, screaming at me because he wanted me to fix his tire for free, because he run over a nail in the parking lot. That was also a parking lot for a big Lowe's, it was a huge place. Anyway, I'm working at a Firestone. And I come home and tell my ex I'm joining the military. She's like, no, you're not. And I was like, yeah. I said, I can't do this. Like, I can't. We have a family. I can't stay here. We can't get back on our feet. Like, there's nothing I can do at this point to try to fix this problem. And let me just tell you what this is about, and then we'll go from there. So once I told her everything was okay, and then, a couple events happened before that. I joined the military in 1990, so you guys know what happened in the military during that time. So I don't want to really talk too much about about that time of my life. And anyway, so when I got out of the military, my plan was to be a police officer when I came back, but that didn't really work out. And I went back into becoming a mechanic. And then I was very successful as that. I worked for Dodge. I worked for Chevrolet. I worked Chevrolet 5 years. I worked for Ford for 8 years. And then I worked for, my last job was at an independent garage making like, I don't know what it was at the time, like $40-something an hour. It was really good money. And then I just went in, I ended up going into business for myself. And yeah, I'm here today. It's been rough for me. Like I never had it easy in my life. Like things weren't just handed to me. I worked hard. I knew how to make money. I knew how to provide for my family. I knew if there was something that needed to be done, that I could do it. All of those crap jobs I had in there was a lot more jobs I had other than the ones that I've mentioned. And in between all that time, I tried to own a few shops too during those times, during a long period of time. But all of those things put me in a position this was my experience level from just life and taking the risk to do something that I wasn't comfortable with because I had to do it. So it put me in a position where I was really good at this final career choice that I went in business for myself. I was contracted through an Hunter engineering company, and I installed heavy equipment, diagnostic stuff. Really, they really are into like specialty stuff like alignments, tire wheel balancing, tire changers, racks, brake lathes. Their stuff is patented. Most dealerships in the world are required to have their equipment. So it's a big opportunity to have to make a lot of money. So I ended up getting this job. They all knew that my end goal was to retire and move to Thailand. Like that, I was already in the process of reaching our goal, and they already knew that eventually that was what I wanted to do. But I was so good at that job, and I was greedy. Like all I wanted to do was make money. So I ended up with like 3 territories at the end. When I quit there, Brent, who is he's like the zone man, my friend Brent, I got him a job as a salesman there, but now he's like a badass there. I think they got 3 service reps that ended up taking over my territory. I think he's in the process of dividing one of those up again. But I made a lot of money, and I decided that coming here was going to be my end game. Not coming here making YouTube videos. That wasn't a thought of mine at all. I wasn't making YouTube videos. I really didn't care about sharing my life. Like right now, I'm sharing. I guess it doesn't really matter, because I feel like I'm helping people, but I want you to understand where I come from, that I'm not some full of shit person. And you guys have been watching me for a long time. I've shared a lot of stories with you, never really in depth like this. I have a lot more, but I didn't have an easy life. Like nothing was given to me. Like I earned everything that I have. I've lost a lot, and I've picked myself up, and I've started over and done what I had to do. I was always good at figuring things out on my own. I feel like that was a benefit for me growing up the way I did. I was able to just figure out how to do stuff, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I'm strong enough to say, well, if it fails, I'll figure something else out. I'm not worried about it. That's why I'm here today. I love my life in Thailand. I love it. I'm not going to change it for anything else. I'm very happy to be here. Life is easy for me here. People don't expect things from me like they did back home. They all think we're all the same anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And people here enjoy the company of foreigners. It's kind of a strange thing. They're intrigued by us. I love the fact that I'm not really worried about stuff anymore. Like, I don't care who's president, really. It might be a shitty thing to say. Of course, we're all devastated about what's going on. Everybody wants world peace. But everybody needs to live their life too. And we've got to figure out a way to get away from that stuff and live the one chance that you have in life. So, yeah, it's selfish, but in the end, it's only you. It's not everybody else. It's not all the things that you're worried about. It's only you in the end. So, I did all my sacrifices I needed to do. A lot of it was done at a younger age. I started out real young. I moved my mom here. I don't know what to say about that, my mom is the only mom I'm ever going to have. So, however I was brought up or what, it doesn't really matter. It's family is 100% always going to be family. I did everything I could from a distance to try to take care of mom, but her situation in her life where she was at she needed a change. She needed to get out. She was like trapped in a hole, and she needed help. So, long story short, she's living in Thailand. She loves it in Thailand. Her options are very, very limited in the United States. Like, she doesn't really have anybody that she could live with there. And she really doesn't want to take care of property herself. She would have to be dependent on somebody over there. So I think she's happy. Well, she tells me she's happy. I have to believe her if she says she's happy. Is that she's got her own little independence where she's at now, and that's all I really want for her. She doesn't understand the language. Things are not always simple in life, no matter where you're at. There's always going to be some complications. So, my mom is here. She's happy. She's dealing with her complication, but I'm trying to work on her to stop thinking so much about things that aren't going to benefit her life. And I'll stop worrying about it, because what we end up doing when we have nothing to do here, we have no hobbies, is we sit in front of the computer or the TV and we watch the world tell us exactly what's going on from their perspective and how things need to be. And when you step away from that stuff, you realize, hell, whatever's happening out there, if I didn't know about it, would it have changed my life at all? Would it be affecting me at the moment? And if it did, could I go somewhere and make a change? Or is it actually the end of the world? Like, is the world collapsing on us and we're all going to die here like soon, So anyway, guys, I'm going to let this video go. I need to look at this video and see if I'm even going to share this content with you. It's not necessary for somebody to come on the internet and share their personal life, but I want you to know where I'm coming from. And, there's a lot of things I'm not sharing with you. Like, I did go to school to try to become a nurse, and there's a lot of other I'm not just a high school flunky. I did get a GED, and I've got almost 4 years of college. So I don't like to gloat or talk about my weaknesses. I'm just sharing with you that we all have struggles in our life. And we've got to pick ourselves up and move forward. So I hope my videos keep you entertained, and I hope they continue to mean something to you. And I hope you guys I think my sarcasm and my personality gets the best of my channel, I think, but I can't help that. I see things and deal with things a little bit different, I think, than a lot of people. But I care a lot about everybody around me, and I'm very considerate of others. And I'm really that kind of guy. I'm not much of a dependable friend anymore. I will say that. I am kind of a loner, and I do like friends, but to an extent. I'll just leave it at that. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you very much for listening to me. We will see you on the next No Time to Be Sad channel. Thank you. Bye.